Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, it looks as though the pressure has finally gotten to Malam Buhari yet again, and is now forced to come out and issue an explanation as to why he decided to ban the Shiite movement. The Shiite movement, of course, is a counter movement, is a counter belief system to the belief system that he follows under their religion, under the Muslim religion. So Malam Buhari, of course, is a Sunni Muslim, and the counter of that, the opposite of that, the opposing side rather of that is the Shiite Muslims. So he's banned them. So he's now issuing an explanation as to why he has banned them. So guys, I bring you this. Presidency justifies the proscription of Shiite IMN. So that's the headline. Presidency justifies the proscription of Shiite IMN. So now to the body of the story. The presidency on Saturday defended the proscription of the Shiite Islamic Movement of Nigeria IMN. It was reported how the federal government on Friday secured a controversial order from a high court to ban the group. The order was obtained ex parte, meaning other interested parties such as the IMN were not notified nor allowed to be present before the court gave the order. The government based the order on the protest by the group, which turned violent in the past week, leading to the death of over a dozen people. The victims included a senior police officer, a journalist, and about a dozen Shiites. The government accused the Shiites of embarking on violent protests, but the Shiites said their peaceful protests were attacked by armed security operatives. Amnesty International and the Committee to Protect Journalists have called for an independent probe of the killings. Although the probe has not been done, the presidency blamed the Shiites for the death of the police officer and the journalist who was a youth corper. The Shiites were protesting the continued detention of their leader Ibrahim el-Zakzaki, who has been detained since December 2015 after soldiers killed over 300 of his followers for allegedly blocking a road being used by the army chief Tuka Baratau. Mr. El-Zakzaki and his wife Zina were initially detained for about a year without trial. They are now being tried in Kaduna for the death of a soldier during the December 2015 incident. It was based on the violence last week that the government moved to ban the group. The ban has been condemned by senior lawyers and human rights activists who say it is an infringement on the freedom of religion guaranteed by the Nigerian Constitution. However, in a statement on Sunday, the presidency said the proscription has nothing to do with banning the larger number of peaceful and law-abiding Shiites in the country from practicing their religion. Instead, it was to discourage wanton violence, murder, and willful destruction of our public and private property, the presidency said. The presidency alleged that the organization has been taken over by extremists who do not believe in peaceful protest and instead employ violence and arson, driving fear and undermining the right of others and our constituted authority. The statement was first made available through a Twitter thread on Sunday evening. So here's the full text of what the statement actually said. State House press release. So that's how they've tagged the statement. State House press release. Government outlaw criminality of IMN, not freedom of worship. That's attributed to the presidency. So that's how they've headlined it and titled it. The presidency says the proscription of Islamic Movement of Nigeria IMN has nothing to do with banning the larger numbers of peaceful and law-abiding Shiites in the country from practicing their religion. Instead, it was to discourage wanton violence, murder, and willful destruction of public and private property. Contrary to the claim by IMN that it had been banned from practicing its religion, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration has not banned Shiites from observing their 5 daily prayers and going to Mecca to perform a holy pilgrimage. Their position is blatantly false and deceptive. The IMN is deliberately changing the narrative in order to gain sympathy and divert attention of the world from its terrorist activities, including attacking soldiers, killing policemen and a youth corps member, destroying public property, consistently defying state authority. The presidency notes that the banned organization was taken over by extremists who didn't believe in peaceful protest and instead employed violence and arson, driving fear and undermining the rights of others, and constituted authority. The presidency agrees that the Constitution protects freedom of worship, but not to the detriment of the society, especially where such freedom harms others and breaks law and order. The presidency insists that such criminal behavior and disregard for rights of others and human life will not be tolerated by any responsible government. Everywhere in the world, protesters operate within legal boundaries and conduct themselves peacefully without molesting others or engaging in murder and killing of security personnel or destroying public and private property. The presidency regrets that despite all efforts by the government and other well-meaning Nigerians to make IMN militants to see reason and abandon violence, such appeals fell on deaf ears as they killed, maimed and destroyed willfully, constituting daily nuisance to workers, commuters, and other innocent citizens. Having defied appeals to operate peacefully and given their seeming determination to destabilize the country, the government had to act before the situation goes out of control. After admonishing many times over that people should not use religion to perpetuate lawlessness, we are fighting lawlessness and criminality and not pursuing a policy of discrimination against any group. You cannot be in court whilst at the same time engaging in violent protest, molesting people and inflicting pain on others, which include taking innocent lives. So that's the response now from the presidency, now clarifying that they are in fact banning this specific group and not that religious sect. But then of course this specific group rather is the umbrella body of the Shiites in Nigeria, and is the largest by far Shiite organization in Nigeria. So really saying that you are banning this specific group and not the religion itself is really being disingenuous. It's effectively like saying that, okay, you are banning PDP, but you are not banning opposition party. If you ban PDP, then you ban the opposition, have you not? Because PDP, to all intents and purposes, is the opposition. So if you are saying, oh, you are banning PDP, but there are still like about 70 other political parties in the country, so you are not banning opposition politics, but you are just banning PDP, then that is really being economical with the truth. Because if you ban PDP, then you are effectively banning any opposition to yourself. So similarly, if you are banning this group, you are effectively banning that particular sect of religion, of your religion. That is effectively what you are doing, and you in government that you are of the sect of that religion that is in opposition to this sect of your religion should especially tread very carefully when it pertains to elements concerning this religion, that sect of that religion, because you don't then want to be accused of using your position to fight your religious agenda against these people that are religiously opposed to you, because this is really what seems to be transpiring. Because if you look at the protest of those Shiites, they don't really carry any weapons greater than maybe throwing stones and carrying a placard, and I think really they throw stones in response to being tear gassed and being pelleted or whatever. So but really they are quite fervent in their protest, and they will go with their placards and make a lot of noise, which is what protesting is. You don't protest quietly. Have you ever seen a quiet protest? A protest by its nature, by its definition, is a raucous situation. So long as they don't go beyond the bounds of what allows them, yes, they're on the streets and maybe that restricts movement, but then that happens in any protest. Have you ever seen a protest that files in one single queue and doesn't make any noise and then just say and wave at people and give out flowers? No, protesting is protesting, and protesting by its nature, as I said, is a situation that creates a lot of noise and a lot of attention and some disruption. So that is still within the remit. So then going after people carrying placards with live ammunition is really an overkill, and that's a literal overkill actually, because human lives are being played with here. So now this explanation now is a bit disingenuous in my own perception, claiming that you are proscribing this group, which is the umbrella group for the majority, the good large percentage of the people of that particular religious sect, that you are proscribing that organization, but you are not proscribing their religious beliefs. So now the law in Nigeria is now being used to restrain and constrain a belief system, that you cannot follow worship in the way that your heart leads you, because as somebody is of the view that you should not be allowed to do that. This is effectively what we have. So now how this plays out and how this pans out is really something of grave concern, and there are senior legal people coming out in the public space to say, look, this is another yet step that we are taking towards authoritarianism, because we already have an authoritarian state, and now we are now having functioning outside of the law, using the instrumentality of the law to undermine the constitution, which is effectively what they are doing. They are getting an ex parte motion, which has just been explained now, that and I'm sure you knew already, that is not having the other party there whilst the judgment is taken. So they're using an ex parte motion to undermine a fundamental element within the Nigerian constitution, which is the freedom to follow your religious belief. So these are grave times for the Nigerian state. So now what says you? Conversations in the comment section is what I am inviting, but before you come join me in the comment section to have that conversation, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what you are making of all this in the comment section. So I'll leave you here, carry on with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.